So in my debate bros video, I was basically talking about how we are becoming more and more on the left, obviously, more and more averse to confronting arguments in general. And this TikTok trend is gonna basically paint a picture of what I truly mean. For example, because this clip got about like 100K views, you can see right there on the 18th, which is yesterday actually. And what this video is, it isn't that bad of a video, but I'm not gonna lead one any further. Let's just go ahead and watch it, see what it's about.
So this latest round of Vosh drama has me thinking about something that I think that the left, especially the online left, does a very poor job of handling. And that is uncomfortable narratives and uncomfortable facts. Now, for the longest time, it was the left who did the good job of handling these things. Today, I have two examples in mind. One from the debate itself, which is the overrepresentation of Jewish people in certain industries, and the other is the FBI crime statistics surrounding rates of Black American crime versus their percentage of the American population, or 1350, which you're probably more familiar with.
So yes, this is the video that spurred a massive outreach and massive outbreak in the leftist sphere. For conservatives, it would make sense for them getting mad at this because they see 1350 as a truthful fact and it explains Black people being bad. They see the Jews being overrepresented in certain medias and forms, and therefore they are in a conspiracy to control them. Like that's their beliefs. It makes sense. But for leftists, if you genuinely believe that Black people aren't evil and criminals, and you genuinely believe Jews don't represent, just because Jews represent disproportionate amount in the media, whatever, it doesn't mean they're evil, then what is the problem with this message? Well, what she just said in the first 10 seconds explains it perfectly. She said the left has a problem with confronting problematic messaging or anything packed up that looks or seems problematic. For example, 1350, right? It's a fact, it exists. But the question is why? That is what it is. Just because a fact exists doesn't mean that's the end all be all of the conversation. You have to dig deeper into the sociological reasons to why the thing exists. So if you go further into these comments, it further explains like the whole entire contention of what I was just saying there. We have the poster themselves thing. I feel bad for Dragon Ripper. Whatever. Anyway, a fleet of bad dragon bussy rippers would not get me to agree with the FBI crime statistics image macro. You see, this is a perfect example of what I mean. The FBI crime statistics are true. Black people do commit more crimes. This is true. But this fact alone does not mean that Black people are evil. The fact that you paint that and make that a conclusion would equate that you think facts are the end all be all when it comes to political prescriptions positions. It's what we do with those facts. This line of thought is very shallow, very one-dimensional, and is honestly not even that intellectual in the first place, because you're solely based off the fact of whatever I feel is right is right. If I feel that Black people are better than white people because they suffered, it's right. No amount of data can feel like. I feel like a Black person who's rich would be way better off than a white person who's poor, because a Black person in general will suffer more. I feel that, so that's true. We can't. It's extremely frustrating too, because she mentioned before as well that she's received like a massive amount of sexist, misogynist comments going towards, which is ironic given the left, the whole zeitgeist and sphere of progressivism and shit like that. And this tweet's a perfect example of that. But I will say too, one thing about this tweet as well was very interesting, because TikTok in general, it's just not a good medium for any form of nuance at all, let alone the political implications of not even being able to answer a fact or even just giving up reality. Because what does admitting that 1350 is true do? When you look at this, what does that even do, right? Unironically, hey guys, I'm skimming this pool when around something, because this too, you can't even think about the Jewish question at all. Now, this person is 45K follower Twitter account, so clearly this is a very popular type of belief in the leftosphere, where even confronting controversial ideas, or even confronting ideas that are contentious, is tantamount to agreeing with them. I don't. This is so depressing, man. I never go on a doomer pill. Even when Zan said the whole like this is going to lead to conservatives taking over the entire political spirit space, I never fall for that shit. Like whenever Destiny goes on his diatribes, you know, hunting down random lefty comments, Twitter bullshit. Like when it's going across the board, I'm like, hey, that's too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm always on that shit. But like whenever shit like this, like starting to get harder and harder to like say, oh, leftists don't really hate white people, or oh, leftists don't really suspend reality just to get the points and emotions across, or oh, you know, it's kind of hard to advocate for that because I'm seeing more and more common, you know, like again, the common argument I heard against this is just an online thing. This is just an online internet thing only, and it's not that common in the real world. That is true. However, if our most progressive figures are online, and that's where we get and garner most of our like most radical ideas, and they can't even address reality, and they're so focused in their communist little fantasy land that they can't even understand and grasp the sociological impacts of feeding reality to conservatives. Fucking shit, bro. It is quite depressing. I would say it is funny though that none of these people can even argue these points anymore. Like I remember this one TikTok trend I saw was basically like this girl saying like the one drop rule got y'all motherfuckers hooked. And then someone commented, well, I mean, is it a one drop rule? Because they're mixed. If you mixed red paint and yellow paint, you get orange. Are they more red than yellow? No. Are they more yellow than red? No, they're orange. They're a completely different thing. And the original post at TikTok said, not you comparing paint to people of races. I feel like it's two things. But it has to be number one, the people being raised off of the political turmoil that happened between 2016 and 2020 and coming into this now like 18, 19, 20 years old and realizing that the points that were stated were bad. 1350 is bad, you know, JQ is bad, but they never found out why. They just been told this shit's bad. And because without the full grasp of understanding why things are bad and things are bad because they are, literally any narrative can change your position and just shatter your whole moral ground framework, all because of what someone said sounds a bit or more emotionally compelling, right? Like for example, how turfs were able to ferment and constantly be able to be, you know, thriving to this day because they used the constant theme of we hate men, but we're also pro woman, but we hate men because men are rapists and evil, right? Which is like, you know, on his face, it seems good if you think about, you know, men being evil, men being bad. But if you look at the long-term effects of that movement, is them constantly saying, hey man, they now branch out to saying now trans women are men because therefore we hate men, therefore we hate trans women. Like it's just like the transition there, it's succinct. Being unable to fully grasp into why things are wrong or why saying certain radical statements or even understanding why shit in general is just not good to say without understanding that as a concept you're susceptible to more dogma, you're susceptible to more populism than the average person. Like for example, Tucker Carlson segments, he just constantly goes off with populist messaging saying people should be paid and a third. He doesn't fucking believe that shit. However, his messaging paints himself as more progressive figure than what he actually is. More people fall for that because they're looking for anti-capitalist rhetoric rather than actually trying to find out what to do with people and how to fix the problems. It's a whole fucking fiasco, and Jesus Christ. Yes, send love to Merrick, you know, tell her hi and have a horrible day left this Twitter. Jesus Christ.